Love News in 2022 captured Akonta Mining Limited and other illegal miners polluting the Tano River at Samreboy in the western region. We uncovered irresponsible mining polluting the Tano at various points in communities like Atala, Ohiampenika, and Datano sections of the river. A year after producing the Distraction for Gold documentary, we went back to Samreboy to gauge the situation on the ground. The miners have abandoned posts and left behind deep pits and gullies they created along the Tano River. Ofosua Sare Samuel is the assembly member for the Mumuni electoral area.
After your last documentary, those that they were in operation, they left the community or they left the site. They are no more here or destroying the land.
But our tour of the adjoining villages along the Tano revealed disturbing pictures of direct active mining in the Tano River with residues directed into the Tano. Shamfan operators and illegal miners currently sit on the river at various points. These Chinese miners were spotted at Boya, a farming community, driving the excavators and operating the mine themselves, contrary to mining regulations. This is purely illegal. There is no buffer between the Tano River and what they are doing. And if you see in the distance, there is a washing bay sitting at the edge of the tunnel, washing directly into the river. This is purely criminal. Close to the airstrip at Samreboy, these two Chinese nationals were found operating this mine, which seems to be violating the government's buffer zone policy for mining close to major water bodies like the Tano River. They told me the site belongs to Akonta Mining Limited.
You go drop me bojo. This side, Akonta people. Yeah.
Officials of Akonta Mining will not respond to the claims. The devastated Atala, Ohiampenika, and Datano lands fall into the concession of Unipower Mining Company Limited. But even before Unipower could complete its licensing processes to start mining, large parts of its concession have been invaded by illegal miners. David Thompson is Corporate Affairs Manager.
Whilst we acquired it over a period of time, illegal miners started to come onto the concession. We tried to engage them in a cordial manner to try and say, hey gentlemen, this is illegal mining. We didn't really get too far in that negotiation. Therefore, we informed the Mineral Commission. So we engaged the military to remove them. They were removed, and then subsequently they started to come back again.
David speaks of the dangers of mining in the River Tano, calling for urgent steps to control the practice.
Any activity on any of the rivers, straight away it's like, surely people, please, this is going nowhere for you. You're going to make a quick buck. How long is it going to last? But the decimation, the catastrophe that you're leaving behind is shocking. The poisons, the colours of the water, the local indigenous people who wash their clothes from that river, who are drinking and using to cook their food from that river. I mean, it's a travesty. And I really believe that should stop an awful lot of the illegal mining on the rivers immediately.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Atala, Ohiampenika, Samreboy, Western Region.
Well, that's what it is. The EPA, the latest report emerging from Samreboy, I should say, the Tano area, revealing that things are getting even worse, even murkier. It beats my imagination. Yes, we're going to be having a conversation on Galamsey, illegal mining and all of that. But it beats my imagination how we can sit back and allow things to degenerate like they have, and still not be willing to put the measures in place to ensure that we can get things right. It beats my imagination. And I've just been asking myself, a year on, do you remember what happened the last time we were in the Samreboy area, just about a year ago? We're talking about clamping down. We're talking about the changes that would be brought to bear. We're talking about the fact that even some of what we had witnessed on the ground, Erastus Asaridonko at the forefront, the arrowhead, that they were not real. Do you remember Akunta mining? All of that has happened. What were the sanctions? So this morning, as we get into this story about illegal miners who have taken over the River Tano in this renewed onslaught on that water body, and that is an onslaught that is going to affect all of us, every last one of us. You remember the reports as well on how this is impacting the cyanide, the mercury, and others are impacting young people. So the water you're consuming is polluted. The food you're consuming, the land itself is polluted. So the food will contain some of these trace metals. And some of them are, you have a child with all kinds of deformities, blindness, limbs growing on the neck, wild deformities. When will this stop? When will this, yes, I'm going to say this intentionally, when will this nonsense stop? Because if we're not getting a hand on it, what is going to happen? Joining us for this conversation, all-important conversation, Elizabeth Va is Executive Director, Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group. And I'll reiterate again what she says about this. This is environmental terrorism. We also have Erastus Asaridonko, my colleague, and I'm proud to say he is my colleague, a multimedia journalist, and of course, he has been on the ground, and he's going to be showing us what exactly is happening. Elizabeth, Erastus, I don't know whether to say good morning, because the subject we're discussing is not good, but morning, maybe morning.
Yeah, morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Right, so let's leave the good out. I'll start with you, Erastus. You're on the ground. I see you there. What exactly is happening a year on since you went to this location? Paint a picture for us.
Well, so this morning we are on a trail. In fact, we are doing the second part of our documentary. I decided to come to this point in this village for you to see the background. That is the Pra River behind me. And it will shock you to know that this major, vast resource is almost useless. It's almost useless. The people here cannot use this river to do anything. They cannot use it to farm. They say when you pour this on the crops, the next day, the crops are dead. They say that they can't drink from this. Definitely you can't drink from this. Now we are filming, and my camera team is filming a woman who has just fetched some of this polluted Pra River. And I asked her, what are you going to use it for? She says, well, there's no water here to wash, to clean utensils and all that. So alum is a high-priced commodity here. She's going to buy alum. She fetched this polluted water. They will put the alum in the pan of water and will separate the polluted, let me say, the muddy stuff in it, so they can get the clear water settling on top. That is what they use to wash their clothes. That's what they use to clean their utensils. But even that, you and I know that the heavy metal content cannot be removed by a simple alum. So you still have some contaminants in there, so they can't drink it, they can't use it to cook. They only use it to wash clothes and use it to clean their utensils. That's all. You cannot use this to farm. And even then,
Erastus, It's maybe a bit dangerous to use it to clean utensils, because if you make a mistake and there's any residue in there, I mean, and you cook in there or you eat something in there, ingest it, it could be a problem for you.
And even the alum itself, what quantity can you put in what kind of bucket? These people do not know. Even the alum itself could be a problem for them. So what I'm saying is that look at this vast resource. Look at this vast resource. This is River Pra. And this is almost useless. It flows through the community. It's a farming community. They cannot use this to farm. They cannot use it to do anything. You can't use it for agriculture. It's nothing. It's just flowing. How sick can a country get? And we are seeing the people who are polluting this. We are filming them right now. They are up there. They are along the river. Some are using champagnes. Some are using excavators. They are opening channels into the river as if there's no law binding. As if people do not have consciences. As if we are sick as a people. I tell you, it's mind blowing as we travel along the Pra River, and the devastation is so huge. Remember, they are also treating this same water to serve the rest of Western region. The amount of alum and polymers they have to pour into this to be able to treat it and send it across homes for people to use. Your guess is as good as mine. And so we are seeing the devastation from 2022 when we went to film the Tano River. We went to the Ankobra and all that. We went back, and currently it's more polluted than when we went in 2022. I can tell you that. I can confirm that.
What makes you think, what Erastus makes you think it is more polluted? Is it just by what you see? I know in the past you've had scientists gauge the turbidity levels and they have all of these other statistics, but is it just based on what you see? Because I think a few weeks or months ago, you compared from last year, I think a few months back, to this one. I also saw our own friend Kafui Day do same. And you can see stark differences in some of the water for the worse. How do you analyze it? How do you determine that it's getting worse?
So let me give you an example. Aside the turbidity values I'm getting from the Ghana Water Resources Commission, which is in the thousands.
Thousands?
They are way above what we got in 2021, February. So for Pra, I wish I could pull that data right now and tell you for Pra, but I can tell you that we are running in the area of 9,000 and 8,000 NTU. Areas that used to be 1,500. So maybe after the show, we are getting the bigger picture for you. Don't worry. We are cooking the food now. So very soon it will be ready for you to watch on your screens on Joy and the multimedia channels. And I tell you that the situation is worse. And I'm also saying this based on our travels. We are seeing, for example, the Ankobra used not to have champagne operators sitting directly on it when we went in 2022. But now, as we speak, we've gone on the Ankobra from the estuary, Axim, all the way to Dominase, Banso, Douale, Wolenzo, and all those towns. You see champagne operators sitting directly on the river. You see people washing gold directly into the Ankobra River. So that situation used not to be there. And that is why the river is looking more dirtier than we found it in 2022.
The people in the community, Erastus, when they interact with you, when you speak to them, how do they feel? They have this water body, a resource that just a few decades ago they could use for so many things. Barring the consequences, health and otherwise, even the beauty of the area has been taken away. What do they share with you when you talk to them?
Well, I can tell you that they are simply helpless. I wish I could go up there. The signal is not too good up there, so if I move, you won't be able to get us. But they are simply helpless. We have some elders sitting in a building up here, just by the river, and that is what they are telling us. They say that now you cannot farm with it. The whole community where we are standing, for the sake of security, I can't tell you where we are, but the whole community rely on somebody's poultry farm, which is about a walking distance from here. They have dug a borehole for their use because they cannot use this river. And that is what the whole community does. They go to beg this poultry farmer, and he gives them access to the borehole, and they get water to drink. Aside that, there's no water to drink in this community. There's no borehole in this community. So they feel helpless. They were telling me that now you can't use it to farm. This is a major river that you could just farm over there in those bushes over there, and then you fetch this water, use it to spray your crops, use it to water your crops and all that, do proper agriculture and get food to eat. Now this is useless. You can't use it for anything. If you eat fish from this polluted river, from what we are learning from scientists, you will have problems. The EPA itself says they found mercury levels in the gills and bones of fishes in polluted waters of the Tano. If you're eating fish from this, you have problems, and the people, they know. And so they feel helpless as they tell me that there's nothing they can do except to say government should go on the river and drive the illegal miners away, hoping that if that is done, maybe the river can revive itself and they can use it again.
Hold for me.
That is the problem.
Do hold for me. I'm hoping, maybe against hope, but still hoping anyway, that maybe the internet connectivity will allow you to have some of these people on air, so we just hear from the horse's own mouth. But just hold for me. Let me engage Elizabeth Va as well, Executive Director, Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group. You've called this environmental terrorism. It's nothing short of that. But how disappointed are you? How do you feel that we've been having these conversations over all this period, and in fact, the situation is only getting worse, far worse? You heard him. Look at the measurements we're getting. Crazy. I don't know what we're doing to ourselves, Elizabeth, but how bad is it that while we keep having these conversations on huge platforms like ours, the situation only keeps getting worse? Elizabeth.
Good morning. I am sitting thousands of miles away, and it just looking at that river and the helplessness that Erastus describes. And I'm seeing myself as the little girl growing along Ezule and just seeing the difference between what I enjoyed and what these people in these communities now have to endure. And he said, Erastus, God bless you for the great work you're doing. He said, how sick can a country be? How sick can a people be? We keep talking about this every time we say the same things. You see, the people come back, the saboteurs get back on the river because, of course, there is no punishment. Look at Agunta mining. I mean, look at what they did a year ago. And what was the punishment? They've been rewarded with a huge concession in the same place where they were doing what they were doing illegally. And what is the difference between what they're doing now with a concession and what they were doing illegally? No difference. So why would all the other small people bother when they know that it's not going anywhere? There's probably a lineup for people waiting for the gold to be drawn out of these rivers through whatever method so that they can buy it and take it to wherever. So how do you expect this to stop when all the incentives that must be there for it to thrive are going at full tilt. There's not going to be any difference. And I feel so sad. If I am as helpless as I find myself here, you can imagine that woman, that young woman with 3, 4, 5 children in that little village who cannot use this water, and they have to buy sachet water to drink. They have to buy all these chemicals to treat the water to be able to use it. And they cannot even tell. It doesn't remove much. Whatever it is that they're spending their money on the alum, it doesn't remove the real problem. It just changes it removes the clay from it. But the cyanide, the mercury, it's all in whatever is left of that water that they're using. This is genocide that we are watching happen at that level.
I just want us to focus a bit on that word you just used. This is genocide at that level. That is, I don't know, do you still want to stick to that? Because in the UN system, in the international system, when genocide is used, we're talking Auschwitz, Adolf Hitler and stuff. We're talking about crazy things that have happened in different jurisdictions, Pinochet, among others. You're using the word genocide to refer to what we're facing.
Look, these rivers run hundreds of miles down between Pra, Orphan, and Cobra Tano. Almost more than 1,000 miles along those rivers together. And there are communities dotted along all these lines. You know what happens when they destroy the Tano at Samarboy? It's going all the way down to the Join Lagoon along the Ghana-Cote d'Ivoire border. There are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people living all along those rivers and beyond. And these people are being exposed to all these chemicals, directly and indirectly. And what happens when these chemicals get into people's systems? Isn't it that don't they die? And so what are we watching happen? It's not just one day of people sending people to the gas chamber. This is a gradual process of eliminating people. And I feel sorry for my people in those communities. The Nzema, the Wasa, the Awoyin. Look, we are gradually just eliminating these people. But on a scale that we don't realize it. And I don't know if it's intentional or it's just the way things are. How can we be this helpless in our own country? This is war happening on our soil and on our land, and we just seem so helpless. And if the country is helpless, imagine the young woman down there, because I picture it, I lived it. That river Mansley, we used to fetch it in the morning before we go to school. We'll go fetch it and then use it for all the stuff we need to do before we run off to school. After school, we run back into the river and we are swimming and playing and all of that. On the weekends, we go and gather shellfish. We lived on this river. This is how these people used to live on this river that we have destroyed and are gradually destroying them too.
The commitment of leadership then, because we have known that this problem has existed. Promise upon promise has been made on the back of dealing with Galamsey. We've seen recent incidents that have pointed to the fact that the situation is exacerbating, in simple terms. And what do we see? We have government officials come out and say, the fight against Galamsey is on. We are still, doing the best possible. Look, to put it bluntly, I was saying this morning, Galamsey has caught us like a bad child, put us on the laps, and is giving us a spanking. It is spanking us black and blue. What has happened? I mean, when you look at leadership, for me, my perspective, before I take yours, I look at the Professor Frimpong Boateng saga, the report. and everything that came through from there. And even the approach of government, oh, this is just someone on a frolic of his own. This is a figment of his imagination. The people who were cited in there, the bigwigs in this ruling administration who were cited, what has happened to them? Same like with Akunta Mining and Chairman Wuntumi, chairman of the New Patriotic Party in the Ashanti region. So focusing on leadership, what do you see? Are we even fighting Galamsey, or is Galamsey rather fighting us?
We are not fighting. We're not fighting anything. The leadership has shown that they don't care. From the report you've just cited, nothing is going to happen out of it. The Abeku issue in the East District, where the police were begging for their lives, nothing is going to happen to it. We had excavators missing in Lambela District. Nothing's happened to anything. Chairman Wuntumi, Tano River Forest, nothing. We have our sister organization, Eco-Conscious Citizens, and other groups are in court right now, trying to force the government of Ghana to do something with the violations that Chairman Wuntumi's company did. And why do people have to go to court to get the IGP and the people who must enforce the laws of the country to act? Nothing is going to come out of it. So we are showing to ourselves and to everybody that is looking on that we are not interested in pursuing any of this. The president continues to talk about evidence. And this report by the person that you put in charge of an interministerial committee, you had it for 2 years, and nobody bothered to do anything about it. And so who are we fooling? And I've also tried to look at even the upcoming, those waiting in the wings to come take over, and I don't see any strong stance in terms of what do we do with this mess. So many of these people, many Ghanaians who really care about what is going on, are all just helplessly looking on because leadership has no desire to do anything about this. This happened, we scream about it a few days, and then it's business as usual. If this is disappointing, I don't know what name to even give it.
Elizabeth, what then can we do? Right before I go back to Erastus, what then can we do? I mean, look at the picture that Erastus paints. The people in that catchment area feel helpless, hopeless. There's nothing they can do on their own to stop the menace. But we've entrusted power into the hands of certain individuals to be able to do that. That is not being done. But what do we do as a people? If our leaders have failed, do we throw our hands up in the air and say, well, because guess what? They enjoy the largesse of the state. A lot of them may engage in whatever deals they do and live well. They will enjoy the ex gratia. They can travel abroad. They can do other things. But you and I will have to face the consequences here. We can't afford to let leadership grow slack on this. What then do we do, Elizabeth, as far as leadership is concerned? What do we do?
What do we do? Right now, I've come across there's a section 3.2 of the Environmental Protection Regulation 2022, where they are even they're removing the fact that you may not mine on an area that is considered globally significant. They have removed that clause so that if even forests like Atiwa Forest, they can have the leeway to go mine, because once they say, well, our law says you can mine in a globally significant area, then you can. I mean, so leadership has no desire to do much, really, the current crop of leaders that we have. In the various communities, we have youth who have stood up. Some have taken their chiefs and then the Minerals Commission and other organizations to court because they want the licenses that have been given to people to come and mine in the area to be revoked. I can speak of Atronsu. And you can see the way that even the, the legal system and everything else is treating these guys who are trying to be on the right side of history. It permeates so much that you wonder where is it going, how is it going to end? When will it end? What can we do? I think we have to continue those communities. I keep going back to them. Summer Boy have people who are in different places who should be able to stand up and protect the people in those communities. Should we bring this government or those people to court outside of even Ghana? We have Ghana Bar Association. Can they help? Can people do some of these things pro bono so that we can put as many people as we can before the legal processes? Because it gets quite expensive, and you get to a point where you feel like, how is this? Where is it all headed? I think we need to help ourselves as a people, help those communities, those of us from there. I know my community, you cannot go and mine there. You cannot. So in my own little way, I'm talking to the people in my community to know, even if platinum, whatever is found in the River Manzili, nobody should go mine it. I think we should take that up as a personal project from those communities. And the rest of Ghana, don't leave it to those who are from those communities alone. And this is where I commend the likes of Ula, Sewa, and Darrell, and the rest of the people. They may not necessarily be from those areas, but they are standing firm to help us fight for our communities. Because you can't imagine what those people in those communities are feeling. The helplessness alone. It's like you don't have a country. You don't have anybody to stand up for you, and you are condemned to this life that is going to kill you.
We can't sit aloof. Erastus, if you can hear me, whereabouts are you now? Where do you find yourself now? And what is the picture from where you currently are? Do we have Erastus with us?
Yeah, I have moved a step further from the community to the community. So I can say that from where we are, we can get good signal. I have a gentleman here, and just let me show you how the community looks like this morning. So you can see what the people here do. That man is preparing a cane basket over there, and these materials they got from around the river. With me here is somebody who lives here within the community. Ensure plan.
Oh, first thing, my father more building, Yako, you can yes, this has been a man. Now, on file among women and Hanasi. Why did you possess your two next? Nihala, sister, Yakun, I'm a young witch and one more hand, the someone.
So he's telling me that this river, they used to drink it. You can fetch some and drink. Now you can't drink it. He says that they are fishermen. And you can see their canoes by the riverside over there. Now they go to the river, they get nothing. And so they want us to help them.
But one man, Google crown what don't why did
now alumni am the tomb say bedding, Namotimi Eddie. Okay,
I'll to ma by formerly tell no waging, not that no Wakadasi. And then soon waging cacra. Yan Alam salute my untumonum. Your partner so a whole way. Flaruka, Boko Prejension was my family could be from Obi Anno, one waffle. It's one more hand, just someone. You soon was saying.
Now I have one essential.
Galamsey if we are.
Or more fine.
If you more hard, if you more is if you so well. Go look at plus, we have way. It's near why that people to Massa. Sir, I had a Unima Kona come on, come catch on. What could the little we.
So he's telling me that now, although they can use it to spray the farm sometimes, but you can't drink it. They put the alum into the water just to let the mud settle at the base of it. But when you use the alum, you can't drink that water, and you can't use it to cook. So,
Masa, ugari utumle ugari. So what alum do gumna ajina utumle ugari, but won't do.
So he says that you can use it to bath when you put in the alum, but you cannot use it. You cannot drink it. You cannot use it to cook. And I saw some children swimming in the dirty, polluted water. I was shocked, and they tell me that even the children, when they swim like that, they get skin rashes and other things. The other thing he was telling me is that as we speak, he can use a boat to show me where they are mining on the river using champagne. And we flew the drone, we've seen it. It's just a few meters from where we are standing. They are sitting on it as we speak, and they are polluting the river from down up. And when they do it, it's like there's no law. Like you see them doing it openly. Like there's no law banning whatever they are doing, as if it's almost legal. And so it baffles us when on our trail, we've passed through Pra, we've passed through Tano, we've seen, yesterday we were at a town where we filmed the Butre River. All of these rivers are almost useless. Almost useless. And it is shocking that such a fire is sitting on the mountain and nobody is running. It's life as usual. Everybody goes about their duty as if nothing is happening. If it were to be any serious country, I think by now there will be a state of emergency, because the lifeblood of this earth in our country is gone. Ankobra, Tano, Butre, Bonsa, everything is polluted.
Erastus,
you can't use it.
You know, the interesting thing, the earth is sort of, it's sort of modeled on who we are. The composition of a human being, about 70% of your body is water. Same with the earth. And if we pollute our water bodies this way, God forbid, I don't know what our country is going to look like in the coming months, years, decades. But in terms of health consequences, and that is a crucial angle to the conversation, can you find out from these people what the health consequences have been in terms of whether any of them, whether it is land that has got polluted through cyanide, mercury, and all of that? Have there been any health consequences for the community?
Well, we have seen some conditions. That is the project that we are working on currently. We are doing some testing as well. And so we'll get a broader sense of the health impacts of illegal mining. But let me ask him,
rashes be two about your promo. One will go to kiss a quay, cheap pump. Only a castle, only a bar. This is some from Mongol. Person from a land in the Dava, who will obra walk, which is young or Moloko. Because if you are wild, why did he? We are say, Massa, I don't want so the island look now for us. I have good and easy. If one more, let them come safe from one stop one. What's about could have away at the Yala? Oyagma, and I'm across stop one.
Well, so he's telling me that when the children swim in the Pra River, they get skin rashes. He says the rashes start from your stomach and then it gets all over your body. And so they've warned the children not to swim in the river. But in the morning, we saw 2 children swimming in there at the moment. He's telling me that they have to walk over to where I was telling you that borehole belongs to a poultry farmer. That is where they are able to get some water to drink. And he's again pointing to where we flew the drone and saw the champagne operating in the river just a few meters from here. And he says that they are working. And who are they That's the question he's asking. Who are they to go and stop them from polluting the river? And I tell you, it's true. Yesterday, when we went to the Butre River, and we approached, in fact, we confronted some of the Shamfan operators. One of them got angry. He said he's going to smash our camera. And, a
Shamfan operator got angry and threatened to smash your camera.
Yes, he says that he has rights and that he has not allowed us to film him. And I was asking him that, so you feel you have rights, but you are polluting an entire major river like the Butre, but the people who depend on it don't have rights. And so I called in my reinforcement and they ran into the bush. But you see, that is the brazen nature of the people who are polluting the river bodies. And so to answer your question again, the health effects on our trail, we have filmed a lot. We have spoken to experts. We have seen a lot. And when this documentary is ready, definitely the multimedia brands will fill you in on the health effects of this.
Hold for me, Erastus. I'll come to you one more time. Maybe you can reposition yourself. I'll come to you for the final time so we conclude the conversation. Elizabeth, having followed the discussion, so health effects are real. The impunity is also real. You imagine this Galamsey, likely covered up in mud and grime, telling our reporter, in fact, my colleague, that, get out of my face. You have no right to be here. That person feels he has the right to pollute a source of water that serves many millions. Where do we go from here?
Well, that Galamsey is strong and adamant because he knows what he's standing on. Yes, it. Only friend is your bebo a year only. Yeah, 99 CBB so. Who are who are the clients of these people? Who supplies them the champagnes? And who gives them those places to go and sit on the river and mine? We've had communities where the youth have stood up to try and get to these people. And before you even reach it, they've been notified and they're gone. So they have links, and they have links within the leadership of those communities. Say either it's the chief, it's the police, it's the district assembly. They have big people behind them, and that is what makes them that brave, and that they can stand up to you like that. But those people who are gradually feeding these guys to make them this bold, I hope eventually they turn on them. But until then, this destruction continues. These communities continue to be this helpless. And I can't keep my mind around in terms of what we need to do next. The few that have stood up and are pressing through the courts, through demonstrations and all of that, they are being, what is the word? They are being, they're being frustrated. Our legal system is frustrating these guys. The guys I mentioned in Akronsu, recently they were told at court, they were told that they hadn't served the attorney general, whatever their rate was, and so they were going to be they were going to be punished, a penalty of 4,000 Ghana cedis. And then you had these mine companies and these Galamsey promoters coming to them and saying, prosecute bibi court. I mean, this is how the system is emboldening those people who are destroying our country. We need to do something about it. The leadership, left to me alone, alluvial mining in Ghana should be banned completely.
I agree with you. I feel we should end it completely for a long time and only come back, if ever, when we have a system in place. I mean, ask yourself, Elizabeth, South Africa has a lot of gold. A whole lot of it. They are not facing this problem. They have a system that works. It said that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. And even if you're a fool, learn from the mistakes of others. Learn more from the mistakes of others. Why can't we simply do that? Best practices.
The will is not there. You have to have the will to make something happen. If what's his name, Wantimi still is in the circles of this government, people who need to be behind bars are walking the corridors of power. There is no interest there. So it's back to us. And whoever we are going to elect next, we need to find out what is their standing on this. And I'm leaving that to you, the media. You know, let's not make it like this party, that party, whatever. Let's get from people where they stand on some of these critical issues. Because this Galamsey menace it's not an inconvenience anymore. It's existential. And we are still where we are several years now. But when there are countries in Southern Africa that have minerals. And because they make good money from their mineral resource, I don't think their people are doing this kind of destructive things that we do. We need to, in addition to that, look at how much we get, even formally, from these resources. Because we give it out, and then we rather running around scraping every piece of land to try and make people get something. The lands minister keeps quoting how much money small-scale mining is bringing us. I mean, what kind of math is this that doesn't look at both sides of the coin? You have to look at the ledger, your debit and your credit. You may be making some money from the gold, but look at the cost to the environment, to the country.
Elizabeth,
nobody seems to be doing that math.
Elizabeth, can we even quantify the damage that has been done? Let's even pick just one of our water bodies. Let's pick the Tano. Can we even quantify in monetary terms how much it will cost us in terms of health and its ramifications on our health system, in terms of the environment? Can we even quantify that? I don't think our leaders are grasping the enormity of the problem.
They are not. And recently I started a small campaign to try to get, I want to know what the Ivorian government thinks of this. Because, you know, we are causing this mess. Tano starts from Mosiaso in the Samrabo area. And we pollute it all the way to there. They may also have some illegal mining issue. But we are the cause of the pollution of the Tano that is causing problems for everybody downstream.
Elizabeth, I'll confirm this for you. I'll confirm this, pardon the interjection. Mm-hmm. Just a few months ago, in fact, the Ivory Coast or Côte d'Ivoire cited us for this. In fact, neighboring countries have complained that on the back of our illegal mining practices, we are polluting their water bodies, including the Ivory Coast. So it's not an if situation. It is happening, and they've actually brought it to bear.
Well, then they have to be loud. They have to be louder. I'm looking for people coming together internationally to maybe take Ghana to the Court of Justice or something for environmental degradation of this water that serves the two countries. I think they have to go beyond just diplomatic letters, because we need a stronger hand to force people in leadership to act. These Galamseyers, those sitting on champagnes, they are not stronger than Ghana. So something is happening that is not making the Ghanaian authorities have that authority, that desire to get rid of this. And we need some things. We need the West African region to come up and say, no, you cannot destroy this land for all of us. Something has to happen beyond what the communities are doing. Look, there are people in the communities that, like Erasco said, they are helpless. They don't want this. But where can they go? The police won't do anything. The DCE won't do anything. Nothing. And what can they do? What can a poor woman with kids do? Those kids in that river, kids are kids. They will go swim it. But look at how we are destroying their future. Right?
I mean, something as basic that children would love to do, swim in a river body close to them, has become hazardous because of recklessness, mismanagement, misleadership. I'll come to you for your final thoughts. Let me see whether I can engage Erastus for one last bout, one last spell before we knock off on this conversation. Erastus, if you can hear me, I don't know where you find yourself now, but what is the final bit that you would like to share with us? And maybe you can add your final sentiments as we wrap on this conversation.
Well, so we are still within the community, and we're still close to the Pra River, which is flowing in front of me right here. What I can say is that on our trail, we found out that as much as we will want to also hold leaders accountable, I can tell you that what we found also links the regulatory bodies at the local level to this mess. We have evidence, and we have people who are giving us evidence to the effect that some officials of EPA and Minerals Commission are behind us.
You are telling me officials of... No, Erastus, hold on. Let's take this slowly. Give me the food slowly. You are telling me that Environmental Protection Agency officers are themselves embroiled in this?
We've gone to about 2 illegal mining sites polluting the Pra River at the moment. And I'm giving you in real time. They are polluting the Pra River at the moment. And they are telling us that, well, we've spoken to the EPA. And indeed, I tend to believe them because the mining sites are in areas that will never go unnoticed. And we have the EPA, we have the Minerals Commission that are supposed to certify these areas before they mine. They tell us that, well, we have not been able to secure the digging permit, but there's a Minerals Commission official who has said that we can mine and he will supervise us. That is an illegality. That is criminal. But you have, in some situations, these officials belonging to the regulatory bodies keeping a blind eye, closing one eye, and allowing them to do what they are doing. In fact, the chamfans that they are operating is within the community. The district chief executives, the municipal chief executives know about it. The police in the area know about it. This is crime being committed right in front of the eyes of law enforcement agencies. But they turn a blind eye. In one particular case, you have a barrier, a police barrier. And just behind the barrier, along the river, you see people with champagne over there polluting the river. This is criminal. But then, nothing is happening. And so I think that as a people, we have seen some youth in community, just like we have Elizabeth talking about. Some youth in certain communities have taken it upon themselves to fight the system. But what do they get? Some of them have been arrested for nothing, just because they say, we won't allow this to go on. So it beats my imagination that people are now benefiting. They want to make money in their pockets rather than protect the very resource that keeps us alive to this moment. And I think that enough of the rhetoric. We've been talking too much. Those in charge of fighting this illegal mining thing have always been talking, and the talk is too much. It's time for action. There is fire on the mountain. We should be seen to be running helter-skelter at the moment, pumping some adrenaline and trying to keep the fire under control. Unfortunately, we are sitting and watching it burn, the very existence of Ghanaians. And I think we should do something about it.
And I wholly agree with you, Erastus Asaredonko. Once more, I doff my imaginary hat to you. Thank you for going into the trenches and doing the work for us, bringing to bear what ordinarily we wouldn't have known. Erastus Asaredonko is my colleague with Love 99.5 FM, and he does the rounds to ensure that we get all the filler. Thank you, Erastus, and keep doing the good work. Right before I wrap with you, Elizabeth, there are some comments that have come through. Haj Apollo says, at this moment, it's a shame to call oneself a Ghanaian. Francis Enyan says, the whole country is just helpless because of greed from top to bottom. Amponsem, I'm trying to filter. This government is a shame to our democracy. A government that when the rank and file of the people are caught in serious Galamsey, they still need evidence. Fredani says, the citizens of Ghana are hungry because of some people's greed. I'm watching you live from Dabwase. Some of the comments are not too friendly, so I'll not take them. I mean, you don't need to go too low with insults and all of that. This one says, Kofi Asante team, let me take it. It says, please give the fighting job to this lady. He's referring to Elizabeth Va, and let's see what she can offer. Talk is cheap. That's what you say. But you see, it's not about talk being cheap. If someone shares an opinion on a matter as dire as this one, it's not even about the person wanting to. She's an environmental activist, yes, but it's not even about her wanting to take up any position. It's about what must be done. And those who have taken up those positions, what they ought to be doing. Responses like this, Kofi, are shameful. And I'll say it to you. I don't mince words. They are shameful. It's not about what the person can do. Does the person know? In some cases, you have someone who knows what has to be done. And someone who can actually do what has to be done. Get that. And let's stop belittling the problem. Let's take some other comments that are coming through. This one says, it's a pretty long and winding one, so I'll move away. But this final one, South Africans don't do politics with their minds. Look, they have the Zamazamas, and I know, which in Ghana is called Galamsey. But the opposition parties don't support them, and they say they'll bring them back when they come to power. Victor says, the MPP is a disaster and a cancer to Ghana. Elizabeth, as we wrap on this conversation, the stark contrast. President Akufo-Addo in 2017, early 2017, on the back of a campaign that the media started. No one forced him to say this. He said he would put his presidency on the line in tackling illegal mining. We've all seen from excavators flying to different places to the latest from Boateng report. We've seen what has happened. What is curious, I don't know whether he still is, but as of last year, when I participated in that climate engagement in the Netherlands, our president was chair of the Climate Vulnerable Forum. Over 50 countries, Latin America, Africa, and all of that. Of course, this has a direct reflection on our water bodies, our environment, and pollution. What would be your message to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo this morning, Elizabeth? That's how I want us to end the conversation.
Well, I think there's nothing I'll tell the president that he doesn't already know or he hasn't heard. If only he would act. The current constitution of Ghana gives the president of Ghana so much power to demand accountability from the people he has put in place, because we know, Mr. President, that you can't be everywhere. And in fact, I feel sad for your job, because it's a big burden that you have. But that is why the constitution of Ghana has given you the power to hire fire, to make sure that your words match your actions. Words are so nice. You speak so well. You when it comes to language and delivery, I give that to you. But sir, if it continually goes out without action, it becomes just words. And some of us have started tuning you out. So you need to do something. This Galamsey, this mining problem that we have in this country is an existential threat. Some of the communities right now are they are on the verge of collapse. We are seeing children being born with deformities. You want to really let it be said that during your time, this moved from just being in the textbooks to actually happening on the ground in Ghana? You have to set the example with Chairman Wontumi and all those people around you, your DCEs who are themselves contractors on the ground. The Minerals Commission, you go to their website right now, and almost every community in the southern part of Ghana, and most also in some parts of the northern region, have been partitioned out and given out to people. People who have no track record to show that when they mine ABC, they reclaim it. Alluvial mining in Ghana right now has become more of a deficit rather than a profit. So let's put a stop to it and stand your ground, man. You've got the power, use it, and stop going to declassify forest reserves and signing instruments that say that a globally significant resource can be mined. I mean, you haven't even been able to get a handle on what is affecting us right now, and you want to go and touch globally significant reserves and resources. You are supposed to be in charge of some climate change, whatever. Look, when it comes to the emissions and stuff, let the white people, let the Western world deal with it. We are talking about bread and butter. Rivers that are polluted, it is worse than somebody taking a plane and therefore causing CO2 emissions. Focus. What you are sitting on is a bombshell that is going to destroy your legacy and this country. So come down home, put your head in the game, and do something. And you said to just talk to the president, but our chiefs too. Ghana National House of Chiefs, really? People are called Okonje Abuo, or Konfurobuo, or Yeden, and your communities are being destroyed. You are sitting there. This is not, now we don't go to war with machetes and stuff. Now the war has been brought to your doorstep. Your communities are being decimated. And you're sitting there in your regalia being Okonfurobuo or Okonje. You have a fight on your hand. Please, stand up, reclaim your position in your communities.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And maybe just it's not a laughing note, but I'm laughing about it because when you look at the front page of the Daily Guide this morning, do you know what you'd see? On the far right corner, you would see Green Ghana Day. Let's go planting. 10 million trees on June the 9th, 2023. Theme, our forests, our health. 9 days more. And pictured there, a very smiling Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, of course, in front. Right behind him, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, the Vice President, also smiling. And then the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, also smiling in his smock. Abu Jinapo. They're all smiling. We're planting trees. We're helping our environment. Maybe they've not seen what we see. Elizabeth, thank you for joining the conversation. Elizabeth Va is Executive Director, Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group. Also on this beat, we spoke to my colleague. I nearly called him my learned colleague, though he's not well-versed in the law, but someone who is really out there in the trenches. I'm proud of that gentleman, Erastus Cesare Donko, who's been exposing the rot going on, the environmental carnage we are sowing. We're sowing a seed. If we sow the wind, we'll reap the whirlwind, as the Bible says. My name is Benjamin Akakwa, and it's just frustrating sometimes sitting here and having these conversations. Sometimes I wish I didn't have to have them. I get frustrated too. Same situation. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about another aspect where we're failing as a country. It's all about Ghana's decaying stadia. We've been talking about this is 98% complete. That is 95% complete. They forget that we can go to these places. Anyway, my colleague Samuel Kojo-Brace has been highlighting how the Esipong Stadium has been left to practically rot due to bad management of that facility. That conversation is up next on the AM show. Do stay.